I want to ask you something uncomfortable. Think about the last time you lost your temper. The last time someone said something and you reacted immediately, without thinking, without choosing, without any control. You said something you regret. You sent that message. You raised your voice. You walked out. You shut down. How did that feel? 5 minutes later. Not in the moment. 5 minutes later. When the wave passed and you could see clearly again, it felt terrible, didn't it? And here's the worst part. It was not the first time. It will not be the last time, because you've been reacting the same way, to the same triggers, in the same situations for years. And nothing has changed, because knowing you have a problem is not the same as solving it. Today we are going to talk about emotional intelligence, but not in the soft, comfortable way most people talk about it. Not just breathe and think positive. We are going to be honest. We are going to be direct. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what is happening inside you when you lose control and what you can do about it. If you want lessons that go beyond grammar and actually help you grow, subscribe to this channel right now. Let's begin. Part 1. What emotional intelligence actually means. Let me start by destroying a myth. Most people think emotional intelligence means being calm, being gentle, being patient all the time, being the person who never raises their voice, never get upset, never feels anger or frustration or hurt. That is not emotional intelligence. That is suppression, and suppression is dangerous. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is not about removing your emotions. It is about understanding them, managing them, choosing what to do with them instead of letting them choose for you. Here is the definition I want you to remember. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize your emotions, understand what they're telling you, and decide how to respond, instead of reacting automatically. Read that again. 3 parts. 1. Recognize. You feel something, and you know what it is. Not just, I feel bad, but I feel humiliated. I feel afraid. I feel invisible. Being precise about your emotions is the first step to managing them. 2. Understand. Every emotion has a message. Anger usually means a boundary was crossed. Fear usually means something important feels threatened. Sadness usually means something was lost. When you understand a message, you have information, and information gives you power. 3. Decide. Not react. Decide. There's a space, sometimes very small, sometimes just a fraction of a second, between what happens to you and what you do about it. That space is where your freedom lives. That space is what emotional intelligence trains you to expand. The psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote one of the most powerful sentences in the history of human thought. He said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom and our power to choose." Stimulus, response, space. The stimulus is what happens. The insult, the criticism, the failure, the disappointment. The response is what you do. And the space between them is where you either live consciously or react unconsciously. Most people have almost no space. Someone criticizes them, and they are already defending. Someone ignores them, and they are already hurting. Someone disagrees, and they are already angry. 0 space, 0 freedom, 0 choice. Emotional intelligence is the practice of creating space, widening it, until your responses become choices rather than reflexes. Part 2. Why your brain hijacks you. Now I need to explain something about your brain, because what happens when you lose emotional control is not a character flaw. It is biology, and understanding it is the first step to changing it. Deep inside your brain, there is a small structure called the amygdala. You do not need to remember this word, but you do need to understand what it does. The amygdala is your brain's alarm system. Its only job is to scan the environment for threats and react immediately. It does not think. It does not analyze. It does not consider consequences. It just reacts. When the amygdala detects a threat, real or imagined, it sends a chemical signal through your body. Your heart rate increases. Your muscles tighten. Your thinking narrows. All your attention focuses on the threat, and your access to rational thought, to the part of your brain that considers consequences, thinks of alternatives, and makes good decisions, is temporarily reduced. Neuroscientists call this an amygdala hijack. Your emotional brain takes over. Your rational brain goes offline. And for a few seconds, sometimes longer, you are not in control. Your biology is. Here is why this matters. The amygdala cannot tell the difference between a real physical threat, a lion running toward you, and a social threat. Your boss criticizing you in a meeting. To your brain, both feel like danger. Both produce the same chemical response. Both hijack your rational thinking in the same way. So when your colleague says something that humiliates you, your brain reacts as if you are being attacked by a predator. Your response is fight, anger, aggression, defensiveness, or flight, withdrawal, silence, avoidance, or freeze, you go completely blank. None of these responses are chosen. They are automatic. They are ancient, and they are not serving you in the modern world. The goal of emotional intelligence is not to eliminate the amygdala hijack. You cannot. It is part of you. The goal is to recognize when it is happening, and to create enough space to choose your response before you act on your first impulse. Part 3. The 4 reactions that are destroying your relationships. I want to talk about 4 specific emotional reactions, 4 patterns. You will recognize yourself in at least one of them, probably more. Be honest. This is not comfortable, but it is necessary. Reaction 1, explosion. This is the most visible one. Something happens. You feel provoked, and you release words, volume, intensity without filtering. You say things you cannot take back. You damage relationships in seconds that took years to build, and then later you apologize. Again, for the 100th time, and you mean it, and you do it again. The explosion pattern says, my discomfort is your problem. When I am overwhelmed, everyone around me pays the price. Reaction 2, implosion. The opposite of explosion, but equally destructive. Something happens. You feel hurt, and you go completely silent. You shut down. You withdraw. You stop communicating. You punish people with your silence and your distance. You tell them everything is fine when it is clearly not. And the resentment builds slowly, quietly, until one day it comes out in ways nobody expected. The implosion pattern says, I will not tell you what I feel, but I will make sure you feel the consequences. Reaction 3, deflection. Something happens that produces a difficult emotion, and instead of sitting with it, you immediately redirect. You make a joke. You change the subject. You minimize it. It's not a big deal. You intellectualize. You analyze the situation so thoroughly that you never actually feel it. You keep yourself permanently busy, so there is no quiet moment where the emotion can surface. The deflection pattern says, I am afraid of what I will find if I look inward, so I never do. Reaction 4, projection. Something happens inside you, insecurity, fear, shame, anger, and instead of owning it, you see it in someone else. Your partner points out a mistake, and you immediately point out theirs. Your colleague receives praise, and you tell yourself they did not deserve it. Someone sets a limit with you, and you call them selfish, when the real issue is that you feel rejected. The projection pattern says, I cannot tolerate this feeling in myself, so I will put it on to you. For reactions, for patterns, all of them automatic, all of them learned, probably in childhood, all of them costing you relationships, opportunities, and peace of mind every single day. And here's what I need you to understand. These patterns are not who you are. They are what you learned to do when you did not have better tools. And now, right now, in this video, you are getting better tools. Part 4, the 5 skills of emotional intelligence. The psychologist Daniel Goleman, who wrote the defining book on emotional intelligence, identified 5 core skills. I want to teach all 5 in English with real examples you can use immediately. Skill 1, self-awareness. Self-awareness means knowing what you are feeling when you are feeling it and why. This sounds simple. It is not. Most people experience emotions as whether something that happens to them from the outside. They do not see themselves feeling anger. They just become angry. They do not observe their fear. They simply are afraid. Self-awareness is a practice of stepping slightly outside yourself and becoming a witness to your own emotional state, not judging it, not suppressing it, just noticing it. A useful English expression. I notice that I am feeling. I notice that I am feeling defensive right now. I notice that I am feeling undervalued in this situation. I notice that I am feeling anxious about this conversation. The word notice creates a tiny but crucial distance between you and your emotion. It says, I am not my emotion. I am the person observing my emotion. And that distance, however small, is a beginning of choice. Skill 2, self-regulation. Self-regulation means managing your emotional reactions, not suppressing them, but channeling them in constructive ways. The key English expression here, I need a moment. This is one of the most powerful sentences in the English language for emotional situations. It is clear, it is adult, it is honest, and it creates exactly the space Viktor Frankl described. This conversation is important to me. I need a moment before I respond. I'm feeling strongly about this. I need a moment to think clearly. Can we pause? I need a moment. 3 words, more powerful than anything you might say in the heat of the moment. Skill 3, motivation. In the context of emotional intelligence, motivation means choosing long-term goals over short-term emotional relief. The explosion feels good for a few seconds. The implosion feels safe. The deflection feels comfortable. But none of them serve your long-term goals, your relationships, your reputation, your integrity. Ask yourself in difficult moments, what do I actually want from this situation? Now what do I feel? What do I want? I feel like attacking, but what I want is to be understood. I feel like disappearing, but what I want is to resolve this. I feel like proving I am right, but what I want is a genuine connection. The gap between what you feel and what you want, that gap is where emotional intelligence lives. Skill 4, empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person, not agree with them, not approve of their behavior. Simply understand what they are experiencing. The English expression that communicates empathy most directly is, I understand why you feel that way. Not, I agree with you. Not, you are right. Simply, I can see the world from where you are standing. I understand why you feel frustrated. From your perspective, this looks completely different. I understand why you feel hurt. That was not my intention, but I see how it landed. Notice the structure. I understand why you feel plus adjective. This sentence de-escalates almost any conflict, because most conflicts are not really about who is right. They are about who feels heard. Skill 5, social skills. The 5th skill is the ability to navigate relationships skillfully, to communicate, to influence, to resolve conflict, to inspire trust. The most important social skill in English, knowing the difference between assertive, aggressive, and passive communication. Aggressive. You always do this. It's completely unacceptable. Passive. It's fine. Don't worry about it. When it is not fine. Assertive. When this happens, I feel underscore, 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 underscore. What I need is underscore, 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 underscore. Assertive communication is a language of emotional maturity. It is honest without being attacking. It is clear without being cruel. It expresses needs without demanding compliance. The structure, when underscore, 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 I feel underscore, 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 underscore. What I need is underscore, 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 underscore. When meetings start late, I feel disrespected. What I need is for us to start on time. When you interrupt me, I feel unheard. What I need is to finish my thought. When plans change without notice, I feel anxious. What I need is more communication. This structure works in every relationship, professional and personal. It is non-aggressive. It takes responsibility for your own feelings. And it opens a conversation instead of closing one. Part 5, the daily practice. Everything I have told you in this video means nothing unless you do something with it. So let me give you a concrete daily practice. 3 steps, 5 minutes a day. Step 1, the evening check-in. Every evening, before you sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. In English, out loud if possible. What emotions did I feel today? Not was today good or bad. What specific emotions? Try to name at least 3. Frustrated, grateful, anxious, proud, disappointed, excited, overwhelmed, relieved, Was there a moment today when I reacted instead of responded? Be honest, not to punish yourself, to learn. If I could repeat that moment, what would I choose to do differently? Visualize it. See yourself pausing. See yourself choosing. Your brain learns from imagined scenarios almost as much as from real ones. Step 2, the trigger journal. This week, every time you feel a strong emotional reaction, write it down. Just one sentence. I felt when happened, and I reacted by... After 7 days, look at what you wrote. You will see patterns you never noticed. The same triggers, the same reactions, the same emotions. And when you can see the pattern, you can begin to interrupt it. Step 3, the pause practice. Choose one situation this week where you know you are likely to react emotionally. A difficult conversation, a stressful meeting, a familiar conflict. Before that situation, set one intention, just one sentence. When I feel today, I will pause and say, I need a moment before I respond. Not, I will be perfect. Not, I will never get angry. Just, I will pause. I will say 3 words, and I will create space. That is enough. That one pause, practice insistently, will change more than years of therapy ever could. Closing, the honest truth. Let me be direct with you one last time before this video ends. Emotional intelligence is not a personality type. You are not born with it or without it. It is a skill, like any skill. It is built through practice, through repetition, through the daily choice to respond instead of react. And like any skill, it will feel unnatural at first, awkward, slow. You will pause and not know what to say. You will try to name your emotion and not find the word. You will attempt assertive communication, and it will come out wrong. That is not failure. That is learning. The person who loses their temper every day and never reflects is not less intelligent than you. They are simply less trained. They have never been given these tools. You have, right now, in this video. So here's my question for you, not rhetorical. A real question that I want you to answer in the comments below. What is one situation in your work, your relationship, your family, where you consistently lose emotional control? One specific trigger, one specific reaction. Write it, name it, because the moment you name something, you begin to have power over it. The unexamined reaction will always control you. The named reaction, the one you can see clearly, that one you can change. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And I will see you in the next lesson. Keep growing. Keep choosing. Keep going.